Alright, hi, I'm Stan Lee, and I am a comic book writer and film producer. And since I'm dead, I have to, I'm a ghost, and so, boo! I scared you. In 1922, December 28th to be exact, I was born in New York City, specifically. And, yeah, that means I was a child during the Great Depression. But luckily, the Great Depression didn't last forever, and by the time I was 16, I already had a job. I worked at Timely Comics, or what you probably know as Marvel Comics. I wrote comics for people in World War II, and 2 years after the end of World War II, I got married to Joan B. Lee. But no one cares about who I got married to. Everyone just cares about my job. Now, speaking of my job, I thought my job was great. I thought everyone loved us, but there was apparently this other company named DC or whatever. They had this Superman guy or something, and people loved him. And DC, people love DC. They'd walk by the DC stores. Oh look, it's a DC store. Let's just go in. When they walk by our store, though, oh look, it's that place. I don't want to go in that place. So I decided to take a little bit of influence from them. Not really copy them, but just take a little bit of influence from them. And you have this saying, don't judge a book by its cover. But back in the day, the cover was all that mattered. You had to have a good cover for your buyer to be interested in your book. So I had to create a good superhero and a good superpower. How about someone who can climb up on walls? I'm getting somewhere, right? How about Wallman? No, that's stupid. Flyman. Spider-Man! And so I created Spider-Man. But that wasn't good enough because DC was still throwing eggs at our shops. So Martin, you know Martin Goodman, right? Of course you don't. He was my boss back in the day. Now he told Jack Kirby and I, you two, you're gonna write a comic, and it better be it has to be better than that Spider guy or whatever you wrote. And so we got together and we made the Fantastic Four. This comic's got everything, including the kitchen sink, and it also has some ads like the new dungeon and wait, is this Mario shampoo and bubble bath? Wait, let's take a look at this. Oh, never mind. We don't want to look at that. Anyway. This made me famous, and this was really popular. It was a hit. And so I decided to create some more characters like Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man. Name any Marvel character, and I most likely made him. You said Thanos the Great, other than him. You said Black Panther, guess what? I made him. I'm basically God. So yes, when I was a child, I loved Disney, and yes, it existed back then. I loved the movie Snow White, Pinocchio. It was my childhood. So every day, I'd go to Martin and I'd ask, we should make TV shows and maybe some movies too. He'd say, get out of my office. And so, luckily though, he got arrested. And then one day I just went to work and, surprise, you're a boss. And so first thing I did, I decided to rename the company. I thought back to the first comic that Martin wrote when I was hired. He wrote Captain Marvel, so I named it Marvel Comics. And I also decided to make some TV shows and movies. Those were not good though, but we kept trying and trying. And this was in the 1970s, and we kept trying. But by 2000, we made a good movie, but today it's bad. It's called X-Men. And then in 2002, we made Spider-Man, but we didn't make that. That was Sony. So yeah, we thought those were pretty good. Back in the day, they were good. Now they're not, because in 2008, Disney bought us, and they made the company look terrible. Well, they made it good, but it made it look terrible before they bought it, because they made wonderful movies for us. Luckily, though, I'm getting paid. Not anymore, because I'm dead. Now, this has nothing to do with that, but in 2002, I wrote an autobiography you can read if you want to find out more about me. I wrote The Amazing Life of Stanley, and another one in 2015 called Stanley Incredible. But sadly, 2 years after that, my wife died, And even sadder, I died the next year. November 22nd, 2018, and I don't even know how I died. I died. I think I'm pretty significant, right? I mean, I made all these comics, and just so you know, if you vote for me, I'll give you some free comics. Just kidding. That's bribery. That should be illegal. Thank you.